telling me that we're ready to go. So let's hold on that question. A good question, Pete. And Sean, may I make introductions? Wonderful. Class, it is my privilege to be able to introduce to you the speakers for our next hour. It's our joy to be able to welcome the Reverend Wesley Granberg Michelson. Since 1994, the Reverend Wesley Granberg Michelson served as the General Secretary, that's the highest-ranking ecclesiastical officer of the Reformed Church in America, a Protestant denomination whose presence in the United States began in 1620s. During his tenure as General Secretary, the RCA has implemented a visionary plan for revitalization and church development, built on its historic commitments to mission, outreach, and education, and on innovative new approaches to leadership development and models for new churches. Dr. Reverend Granberg Michelson is the author of several books, including the book that you've looked at and reviewed pieces of for today's lecture, From Times Square to Timbuktu, the Post-Christian West Meets the Non-Western Church, from Eerdmans in 2013. Other books included would be Unexpected Destinations, An Evangelical Pilgrimage to World Christianity, also from Eerdmans, and in 2004, Leadership from Inside Out, Spirituality and Organizational Change. We're extremely glad to be able to have Dr. Wesley Granberg Michelson with us. We also have the honor of welcoming Dr. Kwabena Asamoah-Gyaду. Dr. Kwabena Asamoah-Gyadu is a professor of contemporary African Christianity and Pentecostal Charismatic Studies at the Trinity Theological Seminary at Leiden in Accra, Ghana. He is also the seminary's Dean of Graduate Studies. Professor Asamoah-Gyadu studied at the Trinity Theological Seminary in Ghana, the University of Ghana, the University of Birmingham, and has been the Senior Research Fellow at the Center for the Study of World Religions at Harvard University in 2004, and in 2007 was the Shiatz Visiting Professor of African Christianity at the Luther Seminary at St. Paul, Minnesota. It's our joy to be able to welcome Dr. Asamoah-Gyadu. It's a special privilege, too, to welcome with us today Dr. John Samuel Mbiti. John Samuel Mbiti, theologian, author, teacher, pastor, and called the father of contemporary African theology, was born on November the 30th, 1931, in Mulango, Kitui, Kenya. He attended high school, and found the deep-seated desire to write, and wrote his first novel, later published by the East African Literature Bureau in Nairobi in 1954. Dr. Mbiti went on to study in New Testament studies at Cambridge University and obtained his PhD in 1963. The Oxford University Press published the results of his research in 1971 as New Testament Eschatology in an African Background, a study of the encounter between New Testament theology and African traditional concepts. He was ordained to Anglican orders in 1963, and Mbiti served for 15 months in St. Michael's Parish at St. Albans near London. African Religions and Philosophy, first published in 1969, drew a worldwide response. The next 2 decades saw the publication of, among other texts, Concepts of God in Africa in 1970, Love and Marriage in Africa in 1973, The Prayers of African Religion in 1975, and Bible and Theology in African Christianity in 1986. Besides his well-known books, he has published over 400 items, including books, articles, essays, poems, and book reviews in the fields of Christianity, theology, biblical studies, ecumenics, literature, and African religion. From 1974 to 1980, Dr. Mbiti served as director and professor at the Ecumenical Institute of the World Council of Churches at Château de Boissy in Geneva. And from 1983 to 2003, he taught on a part-time basis at the Faculty of Theology at the University of Bern as professor of the Science of Mission and Extra-European Theology. And it's also my joy to be able to welcome with us today Dr. Mark Canner, my colleague here at Moody Bible Institute. Dr. Mark Canner is Professor of Intercultural Studies. He's also the Director of the Institute of Strategic Languages and Cultures and has significant experience, especially in missions in Eastern Europe. Would you, with me, welcome our speaker and panel members? Thank you for joining us, Dr. Granberg Michelson. We'll just wait a moment. So how did that joke go that Dr. Johnson told? It's a guy standing on a bridge. I'll await a signal from our technical team.
Okay, I just need to know whether you guys are ready to have me start or not.
Wonderful. I can now hear Dr. Granberg Michelson. Dr. Granberg Michelson, can you hear me as well? Well, folks, I'm just as confused as you are. I would recommend, in the future, if this happens here and again, maybe we could just have a reading or something that you could snap to if there's like a 5-minute pause while our technical people are getting things back online. Can I get a signal?
Yeah. Just an internet issue. It's going through freestyle Wi-Fi.
Okay. Great. Great. Okay. 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 Great. Perfect. So we've got a 10-minute pause, maybe? Okay. Okay. Great, great. Thanks for doing that, Jason. All right, so here's a new game plan, folks. Sean, if we could, let's plan to actually roll the production into overtime, if our members are willing to do that. So students, if you have appointments that you need to make, you may quietly dismiss yourself when we hit 10:35, which would be the end of the class period. You could just quietly sneak out whenever you need to. We'll actually go into overtime, so we'll go like 15 minutes or 20 minutes long. And you just do what you need to do. You'll be able to review the lecture, of course, online afterwards, so it'll be available to you. But that means we have another 5 minutes or so to chat. So let's gather our notes. Let's get back to actually discussing Dr. Johnson's lecture. No, actually, let's discuss what we're about to talk about here. So Dr. Johnson presented to us the what is global Christianity. Now let's start getting some ideas about where is it going. Dr. Johnson ran through a bunch of statistics on how global the presence of Christianity statistically and demographically is changing. Let's start laying the groundwork for what does that mean for us then. And let's just do a brainstorm in these extra minutes that we've got. What do all these changes mean now for the way theology is going to be done in the future? I think that one of the slides that Dr. Johnson had that stuck in my mind is the graph representing the distribution of Christianity in 1910, and 66% of that pie was on the European continent. That means 66% of the Christian population